All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to TMPS Nightcap, the late night show for the TMPS podcast. Head over to tmpspodcast.com. I got my nightcap here. It is 11:30, and here we go with the TMPS Nightcap YouTube Live, which is a companion for the Michael Papinchak Show podcast. Head over to tmpspodcast.com. I'm your host, Michael Papinchak, and this is my late night show. Thank you. And the applause is ringing. I got my old-fashioned here, my nightcap. You join me tonight for some random news, some random talk, a drink or two, and a good time. How's everyone doing out there tonight? You can see from the three cherries, this is my third one, preparing for the show. Thank you so much for tuning in if you're here. I got my late night outfit on for a late night host. What do you guys think of the name? TMPS Nightcap. Join us in the evening when you're getting ready for bed. You're relaxing. Oh, I know. It's just you, Jason. I know. It's just going to be you. I know. And that's okay. Because you're the co-host of TMPS. And now that I'm doing the late night show, this is going to be something new for us to discover together, to figure out together. I had a little issue with my headphone cord. And you know, Jay, maybe sometimes at 11:30 at night, you could be here live with me. But I've always wanted a late night show. And guess what? We got a late night show going. All right, so here we go. Let's get into it right now. Let me maybe message some people, see if they'll come and join us. Come and join us on YouTube for TMPS Nightcap, the live evening show for tmpspodcast.com. All right, so in the news today, you guys all remember the Tiger King. Everyone remember the Tiger King? Back when the Joe we all loved was Joe Exotic and not Joe effing Biden. That's the Joe that we deserve, Joe Exotic. I'll tell you that one. That is the Joe that we deserve. He is in jail, I think, for 20 some odd years for planning to murder Carol Baskin. Carol effing Baskin. Oh my God. Cannot believe it. And apparently a Pittsburgh connection. The Tiger King has a stepson, and his stepson is a huge fan of Big Ben Roethlisberger. And the Tiger King has sent Ben Roethlisberger a letter asking for an autographed jersey. Can you? That deserves a drink. Here we go. That is unbelievable. The Tiger King, holy heck. Ooh, it's a flip of the pen right there. Has written a letter to Ben Roethlisberger asking for an autographed jersey for his stepson. Apparently, buying a jersey is just way too expensive for the Tiger King, who, like I said, is in jail for planning the murder of Carol Baskin. That is right, Jason. Joe Exotic. What a crazy son of a bitch Joe Exotic is. Am I right? God, he is. God, listen, the Tiger King is among one of the greatest things that has ever been presented on TV or streaming or whatever the hell it was. It was Netflix, right? It was Netflix. Literally, right? So, can you imagine Michael Exotic? That's right. That's my new name, Michael Exotic. Can you imagine you're Ben Roethlisberger? All right. You're now retired. You're a Super Bowl champion, 2-time, 3 appearances, two Lombardi trophies. You get a letter from Joe Exotic, the Tiger King himself, that you need an autographed jersey for your stepson because buying one, he promised his stepson an autographed jersey for his birthday, but they're just too expensive. So he has reached out to Big Ben himself to get one. That is just hysterical. Now, do we think that Ben's going to do it? I would say no. I would think that Ben is like, you know what, this guy's in jail for planning the murder of someone else. It's probably not a good idea to give him some charity in the way of a free jersey. So I would say no to that. Another sip of the Nightcap. Welcome to TMPS Nightcap, the evening show, the companion for the TMPS podcast. Head over to tmpspodcast.com. All right, speaking of Pittsburgh sports, because this is a Pittsburgh podcast, we are in the Pittsburgh area here at TMPS. The Pirates, in their season opener, in Pirates fashion, have lost to the Cardinals 9-0. They couldn't even scrape up one. Couldn't even do it, huh? No? Not going to do it? That's the Pittsburgh frickin' Pirates for you. Just want you guys to know that I'm not wearing pants. Why? Because the camera is here up. Why wear pants? Oh, my Lord. The Pittsburgh Pirates, 9-0. I believe that's an omen for the rest of the season. I don't know how else to describe it. But, yeah, not good. Not a good start for our Pittsburgh Pirates. I'm hoping one day that the owner sells them to someone who actually wants to win a game. But that's a long time coming, Pittsburgh. So just thank the baby Jesus. We have the Penguins, Sidney Crosby, Evgeny Malkin, and the rest of them to give us a little hope. Drink to the Penguins, but not to the Pirates. Well, you know what? No. That's not fair. That's not fair. The Pirates, the players, they want to win. It's the main office, if you will. It's the bat. They don't want to win. They just want to make money to keep the ski slopes open, and that's between you and me, the Nightcap audience. I think they should sell him to 10 Cartoni. I think 10 Cartoni, who's a friend of the show, I think 10 Car would do a much better job than the current ownership of the Pirates. And that comes from Jason, who is the co-host of TMPS. Remember to check out the main podcast, the tmpspodcast.com. This is just the nighttime show companion to that podcast. All right, next. Okay, so the Masters is happening. So we all know the tragedy of Tiger Woods. This is one of the most talented golfers that has ever lived in the history of the human race. And he unfortunately has fallen into some unfortunate times. He basically ended up being a major fan of Applebee's and their staff. And it kind of ruined his marriage, which led to a 9-iron to the face, and which ended his basically. He basically was on this journey to win the most championships, or whatever you want to call them, the most titles ever in golf. However, when you get a 9-iron to the face, it kind of puts a bit of a it's not a good thing. Not a good thing when you get a golf club to the face. Apparently he was quickly flown for reconstructive surgery after that, but years later, more recently, he was in a car accident which basically destroyed Jason, correct me, his right leg. Destroyed his right leg, I believe. And Jason told me tonight that they actually wanted to amputate it, which I think is insane. Can you imagine? You are Tiger Woods. You're literally the greatest golfer alive. I don't care who's number one according to the PGA, but Tiger Woods, no matter what, I'm going to talk about F1 later. No matter what, even though I'm not a huge fan, Lewis Hamilton, whether he wins or not, is the best F1 driver on the planet. Just like no matter what's going on, Tiger Woods is still the best. Okay? I mean, that's just bottom line. That's just how it is. That's just how it is. Tiger Woods has to do a car accident. We don't know why. Destroys his leg. Jason was telling me tonight that now one leg is shorter than the other. They wanted to amputate his leg. They were trying to drain his, I think he said ankle, and it was like bone was pouring out. I mean, Tiger Woods literally destroyed his life, destroyed his body. And now he's in the Masters. And I was talking to Jason, and I was like, Jason, why? He's Tiger Woods, man. Jason and I were looking at his house today when we were out for a dinner. His $40 or $50 million mansion. His backyard is literally a golf course. What'd you say? It was like a three par, a par 3 golf course in his backyard. The man has more money than he'll ever need. He destroys his leg. Why is he in the Masters, dude? Just sail off into the sunset. Enjoy the rest of your life. You almost lost your leg. Why are you still golfing? But there he is in the Masters. And so I was at the dog park today. It's an indoor dog park, so they have televisions. And there I am watching the Masters while my dog is running around. Right? I'm going to get to that, Jason. Tiger Woods and all of this. His leg, the accident, the 9-iron to the face. The man has one leg shorter than the other. Metal plates in his leg to keep it together. Can barely function. All right. he still makes the cut. He still makes the cut at the Masters. And it just makes you think if the man was healthy, imagine if Tiger Woods was healthy. He wouldn't only make the cut, he'd be at the top. Yes, Jason is saying that Tiger needs to see our friend Larry Chico at Chico Taylor's to get some custom pantaloons. I believe they'd be sans pockets. No. Tiger would need at least one pocket to put his glove in when he putts. At least one pocket. So Jason is right. Tiger Woods did make the cut on Incredible. I was watching it live. Tiger Woods went from having, some phenomenal golf shots, phenomenal putting, and then the next hole he hit it into the woods and it had to bounce in the sand trap. So, not exactly super consistent, but he made the cut, and that's what really matters. At the end of the day, that's what really matters. So he's there. He's in the Masters. He does look shaky, I have to say. He does look worn out. He does look. There were times the look on his face was like, I'm struggling. I'm really having a rough time. I'm having a rough go. But he walks kind of like an old man, limping like a little bit. You know what I mean? And but hey, his leg was basically I don't have all the details, but I was talking to Jason tonight and he was telling me, dude, they wanted to amputate his leg. Let me tell you something. Tiger Woods is not going to have his leg amputated, and that's just 100%. Nightcap. Tmps Nightcap. YouTube Live. All right, so now, in other news, we all know the slap heard round the world during this most recent Oscars. Will Smith, as we all know, the great Will Smith, the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, decided to slap Chris Rock in the face after a joke about Jada Pinkett Smith. It was a rather mild joke. It wasn't the worst joke in the world. We all know, if you look it up, that Ricky Gervais would have had a much, much stronger joke. But it was a joke nonetheless. And if you watch the video, Will Smith was laughing at said joke. However, when he turned to his lovely wife, she did not think it was very funny. So Mr. Will Smith decided it would be prudent to walk up on stage and bitch slap Chris Rock in the face. The slap heard round the world. And the Academy, which he has resigned from, has now banned Will Smith from attending the Oscars for 10 years. Now, I read a couple articles, and it's unclear if this includes nominations. So he can't attend for the next 10 years. But can he be nominated and potentially win an Oscar in the next 10 years? That is not clear, because technically you don't have to be there to win. You could win and not be there. And I guess, I don't know, they overnight you the Oscar statue. I'm not really sure how it all goes. But, you know, I got to be honest. I really believe that was a gross miscalculation over, you know, it, it, it was unnecessary. Will Smith, his actions were unnecessary. He could have simply yelled, "Keep my wife's name out of your fucking mouth." Excuse my language. This is an adult show. Without bitch slapping him. I have you guys ever seen anything like that in an award show? Physical violence? Have you guys ever seen? I mean, that's insane. You know, we got someone on the Supreme Court now who can't define what a woman is. So how could she possibly interpret the Constitution of the United States when she can't even simply define what a woman is? I mean, that's where we are as a country right now. We can't even define what a woman is. It's utterly insane. Utterly insane. And now you have Will Smith who thinks it's okay to bitch slap Chris Rock in the face. And it begs the question, what if Amy Schumer said that joke? Or Wanda Sykes? Or Ricky Gervais, who has obviously chimed in. And then you have Jim Carrey, who basically said the Hollywood, they're not the cool kids anymore. It's embarrassing. It's just completely and utterly embarrassing. Chris Rock said a very mild joke, and you had a gross overreaction by Will Smith, which was completely uncalled for. And then later they handed him an Oscar, which I'm sure I didn't see the movie. I don't think anyone saw the movie because no one sees Oscar movies anymore because no one cares. I really think very little people care about Hollywood and the Oscars. I think it was like the second least viewed Oscars ever because no one saw any of the movies that were nominated. I didn't even know Will Smith was in a movie. I didn't even know that the movie he won an Oscar for existed. Because it doesn't matter, because who gives a shit in this day and age about those idiots in Hollywood? Seriously. But anyway, he is now banned for 10 years from attending the Oscars, but who knows? Could possibly get nominated. But it kind of makes you think, if he's banned from attending the Oscars, if the Academy has made that decision, do you really think he would be nominated? And honestly, I don't know what the nomination process is. I don't know who does that. I have no idea what the process is. So maybe being banned from attending the Oscars doesn't necessarily, mean that you might not get nominated. But I think, it's like, I think that that slap is really kind of indicative of the where we are as a society, to be completely honest. I mean, unbelievable behavior by the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I think I've decided that the show will last as long as my nightcap lasts. How about that? That might be a good way to gauge it. All right, so next up on my list of things to talk about, I am a huge Formula One fan. And this weekend is the Australian Grand Prix. Now, this Grand Prix used to start the season, but ever since COVID, things have been kind of flipped upside down. We all know that Australia has been under extremely strict and draconian COVID rules and restrictions So actually, this I think is the first Australian Grand Prix in like 3 years. I mean, that sounds insane, but I think they've missed like three races that they would have had, at least two or three. It's been a while since we've been down under in Formula One. But this Grand Prix is happening. We've had at least two practice sessions. I think the third practice session is going to be starting actually in an hour or so. It's now 11:52. This is the late show, TMPS Nightcap, for the TMPS podcast, tmpspodcast.com. And I think it's going to be like, while I'm sleeping, they're going to have the third practice and then qualifying because it's in Australia. So I'll watch it tomorrow on the replay. But we do have the Australian Grand Prix happening this weekend. Basically, the major highlight, to be completely honest, because, the practice sessions aren't exactly the most thrilling thing in the world. They're more just practice. That's exactly what they are. So it's not really racing or anything. It's just practice. And you never really know, the the pace in practice isn't necessarily indicative of the race, because you might have teams trying things out, doing things differently. Often they'll have these things on the car that help them, gauge aerodynamics, and it's like a big grid, like a big fence kind of thing. So obviously they're trying to track aerodynamics. They're not necessarily, racing per se. But anyway, the highlight is Sebastian Fettel, who is a four-time champion with Red Bull. He is now with the Aston Martin team. He actually missed the first two races due to testing positive for COVID. He is now going to be racing in the Australian Grand Prix. However, his Aston Martin, which has a Mercedes power unit, for lack of better word or phrase, shit the bed. And what's interesting is his car shits the bed, sets on fire. Every race has what are called marshals. And marshals are the people who are around the track. They clear the track if there's a crash or there's debris. If there's a car on fire, they have fire extinguishers to extinguish the fire. And so I'm watching practicing today, and Fettel's car, his Aston Martin, which has a Mercedes power unit, it is on fire. It's smoking. He grabs the fire extinguisher from the marshal and extinguishes the fire himself, which is hysterical. I mean, that's just so bizarre. Like, just let the marshal do it. Like, every other driver would let the marshal do it, but not Sebastian Fettel. That's just not his style. He did it himself. So practice is going on, et cetera, et cetera. And then all of a sudden, Sebastian Fettel, okay, is on a moped going around the racetrack waving as if he's in like a parade. So this apparently was a marshal's moped. And that sounds fun. However, that's not exactly legal. And Sebastian Fettel was fined 5,000 euros for his little moped incident, which I think actually was probably the highlight of the practice session. Also, Ferrari is still on top. So for those of you who don't know, who don't follow F1, Ferrari, there's all new regulations this year. We have brand new cars, a brand new era, new rules, et cetera, et cetera. And Ferrari, who was on the back foot for the past couple seasons, really, they had some wins. They were in the hunt here or there, but Mercedes was dominant, and there was really no way to beat Mercedes, regardless of squeaking out a win here or there. Ferrari is now pretty much on top. I mean, they are blowing other teams away, and it's really unbelievable. And so Ferrari's still on top. Red Bull is right there, right, at their heels. However, in a free practice 2 or FP2, as they refer to it, last year's champion as far as the constructor and the team that, seven-time champion Lewis Hamilton with is the Mercedes team in FP2. Now, again, this is practice. This isn't necessarily indicative of race pace, but it is telling that you have Ferrari and Red Bull with Leclerc and Max Verstappen, my favorite driver, in P1 and P2, in place 1, place 2, right? However, in free practice 2, the Mercedes, you had George Russell 11th and Hamilton 13th. This is a team that for the past 8 years have been like the New England Patriots. They just win everything all the time. They dominated the previous era of F1. And now 11 and 13 aren't even in the points. Now, obviously, we got qualifying in the race coming up. This is just practice. Who knows? They might not have been practicing race pace. But it's insane that the Mercedes are that far down in a practice session. And it really kind of makes you wonder what's going on with Mercedes and their power units, because you have Fettel, his car shit the bed, and that's a Mercedes power unit. You have other teams with Mercedes power units like McLaren who are just not doing well. And these teams made these deals with Mercedes because of their dominance. They thought, look how dominant the Mercedes power unit is. Now, why do I say power unit and not engine? That's because the modern F1 cars are hybrids. It's a V6 engine with an electric component, like a hybrid car. So they're called power units now. And the Mercedes power unit was literally unbeatable in the previous era. But now we have brand new regulations. And whether it's the Ferrari power unit or the way their car's constructed, I don't know. But they're blowing everyone out of the water. Now, yes, Max did win the previous race, and the Red Bulls are right up there with Ferrari. But at the end of the day, it is Leclerc and Sainz, the Ferrari drivers. Charles looks incredible. Like, I really, really want to get a model of this year's Ferrari car because it just looks insane. And it looks insane, and it's blowing everyone out of the water. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in to the first official Tmps Nightcap, the late night show that is the companion to the podcast. Head over to tmpspodcast.com. You can find the Michael Papinchak Show on Spotify, iTunes, and SoundCloud. Check it out now. Make sure to come back for our late night YouTube live, 11:30 p.m. on YouTube for TMPS Nightcap.